Hi everybody, welcome to our channel. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to properly mud a corner with corner bead. Okay, we're using TNT in this video, but we're going to be going over a bunch of tips. And no, just isn't the video here, but if you watch through the whole video, we slow it down and we start it all over and we go over the whole process from beginning to end. And by the end of this, you should know how to plaster some corner bead and really up your game and learn some knowledge. All right, I'm going to show you how to add joint compound to this corner. This is a corner that has a corner bead on it. We're actually going to be using TNT, which is taping and topping. So you can use it for as a compound and as a topping, and it's lightweight, which I like to use. Lightweight product, so that way if you're filling up your pan, as you can see right there, you can fill it up all the way and it's not that heavy versus the standard red dot joint compound. All right. So I usually like to have two knives, 8-inch, 12-inch, and that way I can use either or. Now, this I'm not going to use for this. Typically, sometimes people will run their corner bead and they'll use an 8-inch knife like this and they'll only run it. I like to run a 12-inch blade so I can get a really thick buildup on my corners, because the corners always need the most help. But real quick, I want to show you. You see right here, there's a gap. Basically, that's what we're filling out with this TNT, with our joint compound. We're going to be filling that gap. I don't know if you can see it, but that gap from that corner bead, this corner bead is our control line, and it's going to fill it all the way back and float it all the way back, like that. Okay? So I'm not sure if you can see the gap, but I'm going to try to get a good shot here. So, you see that gap right there? That's what we're trying to fill out. From the corner bead, we're gonna float it about 12 inches back. So this corner bead is your control line. So you're gonna wanna build up the product, then you go all the way up and down, and you're gonna keep your edge on the corner bead on this side, and you're gonna float it out. You do it on both sides, okay? Then that way you can have a really nice corner. All right, I'm shooting it vertical because when I shoot it horizontal, when I shoot the video horizontal, it doesn't catch from floor to corner, from floor to ceiling. So if I shot it horizontal, I'd have to be all the way in the back of the room and it won't give a nice close-up like I want right here, okay? Now, some of you might be wondering, why am I wearing a mask? Because this is a construction site, it's an active construction site, got a lot of work going on and there's dust in the air. You really can't see it, but when you're doing this for a living, every day, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you're gonna wanna just get used to wearing a mask, because if not, you don't get used to wearing a mask and then you end up breathing the dust in throughout all of the different times if you're doing construction, if you're doing it all the time, and then eventually it will cause harm. So I like to just wear a mask while I'm working. You don't have to if you don't want to, but for me, I like to protect myself and my guys, so we like to wear masks when we feel like there's dust. Like I said, I have a bunch of stuff going on downstairs. There's dust in the air, you really can't see it, but it's here. That being said, I'm wearing a mask. All right, real quick, when you're doing topping like this, you don't want to have any dry chunkers. And it looks like I have a bunch in this topping. Now, see those dry chunkers? That could be from the bag that's holding the TNT, and the top of the bag got dry, and little chunkers will break up on that. Now, you'll see if we get some chunkers on the wall, what it'll do, but you want to try to keep all those chunks out. And to be honest, I didn't see any of those chunks when I was transferring it from the bag into this box. It was an open bag. So I like to put a rag, wet rag on top of the open bag to keep it moist so it doesn't dry up like this. But we'll see. If there's too many chunks in this, I'll just have to throw this whole thing away and open up a fresh bag. But we're gonna see right now. So like I said, I like to build it up about to there. So I filled up my knife, and then I'm gonna build that up like that, and then I'm gonna, see that line right there? That's from a dry piece of plaster. That's on my knife somewhere, but I'm gonna keep rocking. See, there it is right there. Dry piece of plaster. If you get little marks like that, it's probably because you have a dry piece of plaster in your mix and you want to get rid of that. So what I like to do, build it up like this. And drag it up like that. Then you can take, if you have extra, you can scrape it off the corner bead like that. All right. Now, if the corner bead isn't quite sitting on the wall properly, you might get some higher points and some lower points. If so, then you just add a little more product and you float it out. Now I'm going to go off the edge. I'm going to put pressure on this corner and less pressure on the outside corner. That way I can float that edge. You don't want to leave any hard lines. That's looking pretty good right there. I'm going to hit this side. Remember, I want to float it out about this width of this knife. So I'm going to add more product down here, bring it up. Some product there, some product here. Now when your pan starts getting like that, you want to bring this product over into the middle, give it a spin. You want to always have a lot of product in the middle, because if it's on the edges, it falls off the edges. So. Now, if you're a plaster person and you're watching this video, leave a comment on how you do it. See how that's going? Right there's a little chunk, dry chunk. There's not too many dry chunks in this mix, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep rocking. Now, you can do multiple coats on your corners. As you can see on the bottom right here, looks like the drywall tapers in a little bit, tapers out a little bit, so that way it hits here before it hits the bead. If that's the case, you're gonna wanna add a little bit more product, so that way you can float it out. Remember, you're gonna do multiple coats. So, this is gonna be our first coat. We're just trying to build it up on this corner here. Now, if you get little dips, little lines on the corner bead, it's fine. But what you can do is you can go back through and you can hit it with a nail or a screw or a staple. which is what we use, into any area that's lifting up like that. It's such a small area, we can leave it, come back with a second coat of plaster, and it's gonna be perfect. So if you run into that stuff, don't worry. Just keep doing your thing. Hopefully I don't block the view. But see this stool right here? You're gonna want one of these stools. These stools are very handy. It's like a bench. It's the best. Super lightweight. And now I'm gonna build this up. See how that's going? Careful when you're grabbing the bead. You can dip in like I just did right there. So you want to have it on the edge here. And fine, we're going to go back through and smooth all that out. Get that corner. Now, if you're a DIYer and you're doing this by yourself, you're going to want to practice a little bit, hit a couple corners, don't beat yourself up because you will get the hang of it. At first when you try it, it seems like it's really hard. But then after you do a couple corners, you're going to be really, really feeling confident about it. And then you can do a really good job. And if you're a homeowner builder, then you can really be super, super happy about your product. And later, when you have really killer corners, you can come show them off to all your friends. Look, I did the poster. Yeah. Now, I always recommend hiring some tapers and mudders for this work because this is some of the most tedious work when you're doing drywall. Taping and mudding. So like I said, I like to hire guys to come hang the drywall and tape and mud. Now, sometimes the budget just doesn't call out for that. If that's the case, because you're a homeowner builder, you're trying to do everything within a certain budget, and you got to do it yourself. And then hopefully this video helps you out. So you see here, I'm getting the edge, trying to get the stuff that's on the left on the edge there. Get that, bring it over into the middle, spin it around. So you get a nice and smooth reveal. But you don't want to leave it like that. You want to always go against the corner bead or float it out a little bit, leaving it floating from the corner bead. If you have to build it up, that's fine. But if that's the case, you're going to want to leave it as smooth as you can. And then you're going to want to float these edges in here so you don't have, the transition isn't too great from your mid-span in your wall to your outside corner. But typically the corner should come out farther than your mid-span in your drywall. So the corner should be a little more pronounced than everything else on the drywall. So when you run your mud here, it should come out a little higher than the mud over here. So that way when you add a thin set here or a smooth when you add a skim coat in here in the field, it's going to basically bring it out flush with everything else. Now, I'm going to leave this like that until my next coat, until I skim coat everything and give all my seams another tape. But this is how I want to build up all my corners for the first time. So go ahead and run it all the way through like that. Float that out, that's cool. That's looking good. Get my edges. That's looking pretty slick right there. fill it up just a little more. Big chunk of something right there. I'm gonna add a little bit more here at the bottom. Then I'm gonna drag it up and it filled in that void. You see that? That's what you wanna do. Now, if you're a DIYer and you find that this video helps you, hook us up. A lot of our viewers on our channel aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of content on this channel, a lot of really valuable content that you might actually use if you're a DIY contractor or you're a homeowner builder. Okay? So that little lip right there, we can leave that, that's fine. If I hit it again, I'm gonna need to hit it 5 times. You need to know when to just tell yourself, that's enough. Later, we'll skim coat these walls, we'll knock it down a little bit, we'll sand it all down to level 5 smooth. And that's how we do it, all right? Hopefully that helps you out as far as how to mud a corner bead on a corner.